the simple question, most direct question, most important question, why? Why do you want to be president? What would you do with it?
You know, I don't think the guy who's there now is doing the job. I don't think he's leaning into it. There's a lot of political sloganeering and a lot of picking fights with people and trying to be divisive. I think in a way I've been apprenticing for this job for a long time. I had a long time in the Justice Department, worked in the House and in the Senate, had 2 terms as governor where I had a lot of experience working across the aisle. I have a lot of international experience, mostly in the business world, but about a third of my duties when I was Assistant Attorney General in charge of the Criminal Division was international as well. But I get all around the world all the time. I'm a member of a group of former world leaders called the Interaction Council that we get together talk about the great issues of the day. So I've got some perspective on international matters as well. So, I mean, I think I could start Monday.
There's somebody who has the job right now.
Well,
he's occupying the office. And it's been a good long time since there's been a primary challenge of a Republican or a Democrat, particularly a Republican. Why do you think that you can displace a sitting Republican president from the Republican Party?
Well, in some places like New Hampshire, it's one voter at a time, and that's how they like it up there. They like to actually meet the candidates. It would require a certain amount of change, but as in how people in the Republican electorate are seeing things right now, that's for sure, given the president's numbers. But there are 20 primaries where unenrolled or independent voters can vote in the Republican primary, so that's an opening. But beyond that, you just got to make the case for yourself, and I'm in this to win, not apologetic about that. It would be kind of ludicrous to run any way other than to win, and I can see what I would do if I get in there. I know what I would do the first day. I'd cut spending. The president hasn't vetoed any of that $1 trillion a year in overspending that's been going on. I don't think he's vetoed a penny of it. When I was in Massachusetts, I did do that, and I was rated the most fiscally conservative governor in the United States by the Wall Street Journal and the Cato Institute. And when I ran for governor, there hadn't been a Republican in Massachusetts for 20 years, and I got 2 terms, as you said, and after me, there were 4 Republican governors. So don't anyone tell me I never did anything for the Republican Party.
So there are a fair number of people from outside of Washington, I'll say, who talk about the deficit and our debt, both issues, as being a real problem we have. And yet, once they get to Washington, they tend not to do anything about it for a simple reason, I think. People like to get reelected. Members of Congress like to get reelected.
Oh,
Nobody gets reelected on that basis.
Yeah.
How could you bring Congress along? You can't just do it by yourself as president.
Well, the truth is we should have a balanced budget amendment for the president, but
that takes the Congress and the states.
Yeah, I'll tell you what you can do. You can veto stuff and say, send it back to me without this overspending, or I'm not signing it. Very simple.
So the President of the United States, one of the remarkable things about him is he doesn't have that high an approval rating overall in the country, but among Republicans, it is extraordinary. It's like 89%. How do you account for that, and how do you eat into that? Because if you really want to take him out of the primaries, you're going to have to eat into that 89% number.
Well, I think the president made an emotional bond with a lot of people who felt they've been left behind by globalization, and that, you know, they felt downtrodden in a way, so that creates a very strong bond, and I think that's responsible for his popularity with the base. I would urge, however, that there's a bigger problem coming down the road, and that's that 25% of all the jobs in the United States are about to disappear because of technical developments in artificial intelligence and robotics and drones and machine learning and autonomous vehicles. You know, the highest number of people in an occupation in most states is driver, truck drivers included. Those jobs are going to be absolutely gone when autonomous vehicles come in, and somebody's got to be thinking ahead about that. I don't think the president is, and the people who want not to be left behind should care about that a lot. And you know, the skills that are going to be required for the replacement jobs, and there will be replacement jobs, mostly of a technical nature, they require a couple of years of post-secondary education to fit people to get those jobs. That's the bad news. The good news is when they get them, they'll have higher wages. But to get those skill sets, we've got to make it possible for people to have that educational opportunities. I talk about it in terms of a GI Bill for displaced workers who are about to be displaced by these technology developments. And I think that's a matter that should start from the Oval Office It will involve the state governments for sure. That's where the community colleges are. But there's got to be federal leadership there.
So it's not just why are you running for president, but why are you running as a Republican? I mean, the Republican National Committee has already come out with a very strong statement. You don't seem to get much support from the operations.
What do you expect them to do? They're relying on the president.
Well, are you getting any encouragement from other Republicans to say, yeah, you go, boy?
I'm not really asking people to endorse or get behind me until I've shown that I've got some traction in terms of office holders or former office holders. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of email encouragement, sure. And you know, when I meet people and speak, as I did up in New Hampshire a couple of days ago, I get words like historic. So yes.
When you ran as a vice presidential candidate for the Libertarian Party, you said, I'm a libertarian, I'm always going to be a libertarian. Are you still a libertarian? Because it seems like you're a Republican now.
No, that's a true fact. I did say that, and I have self-identified as a small L libertarian my entire life since I discovered Friedrich Hayek in law school, the Constitution of Liberty. So nothing's really changed in terms of how I see the world. I ran on a small government platform with former Republican Governor Gary Johnson on the Libertarian ticket last cycle. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and you know, I think the things that we said in that campaign were true. We said that the two parties in Washington are locked in a death spiral embrace, and all they care about is getting reelected. And that's palpably true now. The fact that they may want to cast themselves as George III, who, for the benefit of anyone who doesn't know, I won't name any names, was the King of England during the time of our revolution.
Yes.
It was Jefferson who said a little revolution every once in a while is a good thing.
So finally, I'm going to cast you, and this may be unfair, as a moderate, a reasonably moderate person, not an extreme on the right, not an extreme on the left. In recent elections, it feels like it's gotten more and more off of center. That it's gone to the left, it's gone to the right. And a lot of people despair of really someone successfully running down the center. What makes you think that there's room for you or someone else to say, I'm a moderate, I'm not going to appeal to the extremes of emotion on either side?
You know, I never call myself a moderate. I'm very conservative fiscally, and that's good to protect people's investment. And I'm really quite welcoming and tolerant and open socially. I said at the Republican convention in 1992, I got some airtime. I said, I want the government out of your pocketbook and out of your bedroom. That remains my view.